However, at a different level, these activities are simply a background which will always be present in whatever system may be formed. And I'd like to now suggest some more analogies. Start off with what I've called the mental vacuum. And I'd like to compare that with a physical system, and for that let me take a gas such as the air in this room. And now let me call thoughts these activities which keep their form permanently, and they are oscillations of a mental vacuum, and so they correspond to sound waves. And now the question is what corresponds to the ordinary universe, because it is not obviously very much like an oscillation in a vacuum. What is suggested in the Vedas is that an ordinary universe, the relative, is a different phase than the absolute. Absolute being another name for the mental vacuum, and we can compare this. I call it a universe, and we can compare this with a bubble. Sorry if I said gas here, I mean a drop. Or a droplet in a gas. The point is these will interact. The universe will be surrounded by this vacuum of thoughts propagating in the medium around the universe in the same way as a droplet in a gas will be affected by all the sound waves falling on it. So there will be various interactions going on, and the Vedas are concerned with what these various interactions are. Now, as to the way directed evolution could occur, to come back to an earlier point, the mechanism by which that could occur is by, I'll draw the previous diagram again. We have some particular sequence of oscillations occurring at a subtle level here, say in the absolute or mental vacuum, and now these will produce a particular effect on the universe. And it may be possible that each of these different waves will have a particular effect on the universe. And so, in other words, conditions surrounding the universe may change from time to time, and it may be driven by these vibrations in the absolute in the same way as a bubble would pick up oscillations from a surrounding gas. So, in general terms, one might expect that the activity that you could get in the absolute could drive events occurring in the ordinary universe, such as the evolution of species. That would be a possible mechanism here, though naturally one would have to work in a lot more detail before one could be completely convinced that this would occur. However, I think it's an interesting point that in a technical sense, a branch of mathematics called information theory, this medium carrying thoughts surrounding our universe is what's technically called an information source. And, well, I won't go into mathematical detail now, but the information is essentially the same as absence of randomness. So, as long as some kind of vibrations can propagate in the mental vacuum but others can't, one has what's equivalent to an information source, simply because of the difference between those which can propagate and those which can't. It's really exactly the same as the person wondering what to do was surrounded by people giving him advice. And supposing you had a random sentence generator which produced all possible sentences, obviously the person could get no information at all out of these sentences being told him. But if, on the other hand, he's surrounded by a selection of useful sentences, he's better off than when he started. And this is essentially what I'm proposing for how the absolute could guide evolution. The absolute doesn't contain all possible thoughts, but it contains a selection of thoughts and therefore contains information.
This absolute guiding evolution is a very great principle, and that is the value of contacting it. That it will make every action evolutionary. It's a very beautiful thing.
That's basically a point which was later on in my list, which I'll say now.
There's a practical value of EM. Otherwise, why unnecessarily go to vacuum? Gain some guidance from there. It's a very beautiful.
Unlike Maharishi, I'll say it in Sanskrit that Brahman and Atman are the same.
Yes, Brahman and Atman are the same. At one time, the Atman says, I am Brahman. It's very beautiful.
Which translated back into English means that the thoughts we can get in our own minds are the same as those which can occur. The postulate that our own minds are simply picking up the oscillations of this universal mental vacuum might, I think, be a way of understanding human intelligence in a way that you probably couldn't get out of the kind of things which are being worked on in artificial intelligence, which assume you merely have a fixed set of rules of thumb. It would anyway explain how you could be intelligent without having to learn to be intelligent, and we don't have to learn everything we do. We seem to have a basic intelligence, and this would be some mechanism for explaining how we could get that basic intelligence.